For trichomes.com, I'm Jarod Duggins, and this is the Careers in Cannabis podcast. On this show, we sit down with staffing agencies, cannabis companies, and other industry professionals to discuss employment opportunities in the burgeoning cannabis industry. It has been 5 months since the first Careers in Cannabis podcast was aired. We started our podcast to address this time period, this global pandemic that we've all been going through. Once panic set in, businesses big and small began layoffs and furloughs, with numbers skyrocketing into the millions of people unemployed faster than anyone could have prepared. The landscape of traditional business has been changed forever, yet the transition has just begun. Our show is here to bring just a bit of levity as we illustrate 2 main points. 1, that the cannabis industry will be here tomorrow. And number 2, it will require more and more people from all walks of life to help it grow into the massive market that it will one day be. Today, we are joined again by Valerie Crisp of the High Bluff Group. Listen into her perspective on what's changed since we first spoke back in May, what's next, and how, if you are looking for a career in cannabis, to brush up your resume a bit and put your best foot forward as you enter the employment market. Valerie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jarod.
Yeah, I should say welcome back to the show, because you were my first guest here on Career in Cannabis. You were the inaugural guest, and now we're checking back in with you in High Bluff Group. So welcome back to the show.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah, so jumping right into it, we started this series off amidst the beginning of some uncertain global times. We're still here amidst a global pandemic. There's all sorts of views being flung around on it, but long and the short is we still don't know a whole bunch about it, and it is affecting our unemployment rate. Cannabis has stayed on the deemed essential list.
Yes.
And so we've
remained for that.
Right, vital and growing as an industry. But personally, let's check in. How are you doing? How's the fam?
We're doing good. My husband and I are both still working from home, so we're both really grateful to be working. We've been keeping really busy. Last week, actually, I was able to go and network in a way for the first time. I participated in National Expungement Week and was able to go volunteer twice, once in East Compton, and the other time was actually at a client of ours at Cannabis. So, it was an amazing time being able to be out there with people again. Besides obviously being able to help so many people that came through to expunge their records and get registered to vote and pick up food. So it was just so nice to be in a situation, around people in the industry and be reunited with my cannabis community.
Oh, that sounds great, and during times like this, as far as gatherings not being so part of the norm nowadays, it really is going to be something to behold on how this community, let alone the world, kind of adheres itself and the continuity sticks together. The community is something that cannabis as an industry survives by and thrives on. So gatherings and cohesive community events are something that need to be a part of the landscape here. And as we're getting back into this new norm, it's good to see that there's still community working towards a better tomorrow for cannabis as an industry, and helping with the reparations for some of the past deeds that some of the unfair laws had created there. So thanks for participating in that as well.
Definitely. I mean, I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and I'm connected with Ishka from the consulting group Cannabis Babes, and she was setting up the event in East Compton along with the Social Impact Center. So, I had that opportunity to come through and help, and I noticed CannaSafe was also having a place to host the pop up for this event as well. So I wanted to help them, and I think it's the right thing to do. I think we should all figure out ways that we can give back to the community that has taken the biggest blow for cannabis offenses. It's not right for people to be in jail for something that me and others are profiting off of. So I felt really good to be able to give back and help people. And, honestly, they were so proud coming through because they're making a huge difference in their life by doing this. And the people that have turned their lives around, it was really inspiring to speak with them. So I'm so glad I was able to do that.
That's awesome. And while you're there giving some advice, I imagine, and that brings me to the next point is, actually the first time we spoke, you were talking about a hiring guide that was going to be coming out. And I do know, as a matter of fact, that I received a link to it.
Mm-hmm.
So You want to touch a little bit about what came out, what the hiring guide is, and kind of refresh the memory of our listeners?
Of course. So we did end up launching our hiring guide. I believe it was at the end of May. So right after you and I spoke, within the couple weeks after that, we were able to launch. We've had such a great response from that and really positive feedback. People are really finding value in what we were able to offer. What is included in the guide is everything from how to write an effective job ad to how to, work in collaboration with your HR team to figure out what, aspects of the job are really important to look for when you're interviewing, how to prep for an interview, how to write effective interview questions, even step by step on how to make an offer and onboard your employees. So it takes you through the full cycle hiring process and is really good for anyone that needs kind of a brush up on best practices or maybe newer companies that haven't had to hire before and want to put in the right procedures in place before they start to build their team.
Nice. Yeah. Well, definitely a tool that people should consider downloading and taking a look at, especially like you said, if even if from the employer side or getting back into the market trying to find yourself a job. Within that, we're not quite back to normal on a day-to-day living cycle here, and that means the job market, is the landscape itself is a bit uncertain. I know the jobless rate has gone down quite a bit, and quite a few more people have found jobs, but the scope of the jobs being offered, I know, is a little bit different. Are you noticing any hiring trends as we're ending the end of this year, this well, seemingly the beginning of this decade, longest decade in history right now so far.
Definitely.
But are you noticing any new hiring trends within the cannabis industry itself?
I have been noticing quite a few trends lately from what types of jobs are being offered to, the salaries that are being offered and the ways that companies are going about hiring and also the candidate response to that as well. Something I've noticed is that a lot of candidates that are in a secure position currently are understandably pretty nervous to take the leap into a new job opportunity. At the same time, as you know, employers are always looking for the people that are currently employed as they, understand that to mean that those are the most skilled in their position. So it's been a little bit tough on the recruitment side. Also, it seems that employers currently may be hesitant to offer higher salaries to attract those people away, just with the climate that we're in with COVID. So, there's definitely a lot of hurdles that we've had to filling positions lately. But where I've seen the silver lining in all of this is those candidates that are maybe looking for their next promotable opportunity, they have a chance here to really kind of take advantage of this position we're in. Because while they are currently working, let me give you an example. As a lab manager, with a lower salary point, they may be open to hiring somebody that is, perhaps a lab analyst lead that could really take that next step in their career. Maybe they've managed a small team, but they haven't held that title yet. And there's somebody that may be open to taking the lower salary for that promotable opportunity and that's that title bump. So I think there's definitely some different ways that you can approach the situations that we're seeing currently on both sides. Another trend that I've been noticing is since we are approaching Croptober, there are a ton of cultivation positions open currently, anywhere from cultivation techs to cultivation managers, master growers. So if you're in cultivation and looking to get a promotion currently or looking for your next opportunity, this is the perfect time to do it.
Oh, great insights. Yeah, as we approach Croptober here, depending on the practices, the procedures as far as harvest procedures and all that kind of stuff, it definitely takes a lot of human hands to get that job done. So, great
That's
point.
right.
So, yeah, anything I know, we talked about the hiring guide. As far as before we started recording here, you and I talked about a newsletter that had started coming out to do with High Bluff Group and keeping some of the people who are looking for jobs current on the events. Can you tell us a little bit about that newsletter and what's coming of it? I heard there's some new things on the horizon.
Of course. So I actually did, along with my coworkers at High Bluff Group, we started a newsletter at the end of July. And one of the reasons for us starting this newsletter was wanting to put something more positive out into the cannabis community. There's so much doom and gloom in the news, and it's, can really be a downer. And I know a lot of people are experiencing, depressive feelings, and we wanted to bring something out to really uplift people and uplift our community. So we started sending out a newsletter every Friday to really highlight the positive things going on in the industry, fun little tidbits like infused recipes, product features for our clients, or any products that we thought were worth mentioning and that we wanted to highlight. So that's been really fun to send out, and I've gotten a great response on that. But while we have been doing that, we also want to add value to the community as well. And another issue that I've been noticing as far as a trend in the industry is, negative or toxic company culture, just based on, so many different things that are actually preventable. So what we're going to be doing starting this week is adding a segment that we're calling Cultivating Culture, which is really going to highlight tips on how to promote a positive workforce culture in your company. So I'm really, really excited about that. We're going to be interviewing HR managers and directors for different companies that do have that positive culture in place to get their feedback on how they're able to do that. And this is so important right now, especially with a large number of people working remotely and our industry is still growing. Right now, going into 2021, it's more important than ever to focus on having a positive company culture. So, we're really excited about that. And, you'll be hearing more about that from me soon.
Fantastic, fantastic. Heat culture is such a big thing, and right now with so many different aspects of the company, being remote, again, it's something that people and companies should be concentrating on. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that
Definitely.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, people
Um,
need to feel included in what's going on, and it's so hard when you're working remotely. So there's a lot of tips and tricks we'll be sharing on how to deal with a remote workforce, and just putting those types of good culture cues in place within the company so that people are feeling included, people are feeling positive about where they're going, and feel valued at the company that they're at.
very, very important from all aspects. Speaking of that, and speaking of the company that you're at, are there any openings or listings that High Bluff Group wants to get out onto the air, and where can you find those?
Definitely. So we're working on quite a few different positions right now, but I do have a few that I'd like to highlight. Right now, we are focusing on a lab manager for a cannabis testing lab that's located in Sacramento. This position is going to be, like I was mentioning earlier, a great opportunity for somebody that's looking for their next promotable opportunity, somebody that has cannabis experience, although we are open to looking at people from outside with an analytical background, but a really cool opportunity at a company that has multiple licenses, and they're going to be growing rapidly. They have licenses for testing labs in Illinois and Florida as well. So this person could ultimately become a lab director at one of those locations once everything is set in place for that expansion. So this is a really exciting opportunity we're working on. We're also working on two cultivation managers for a facility that's located in Desert Hot Springs with one of the biggest players in the game right now. They've actually just purchased a third facility, and they're growing rapidly, and will be coming out with another cannabis brand here within the next couple of months. So really, really good opportunity to join a team that has been around for a while, and that has, they're profitable, and they're just a solid group to join with a really good culture. Another exciting opportunity I have coming up, I actually have several for cultivation techs. This is going to be located in Richmond, California. They're looking for 6 cultivation techs to join their team. They're rapidly growing their cultivation facility out in Richmond, and they're also looking for a facilities manager. So these positions just came online, and we're looking for a lot of people to help them out. Really good salary point for this type of position as well. Besides that, we're going to be having more positions coming online soon in Oklahoma. The majority of what we have open currently is in California, but we're going to be having about 6 different roles coming on very soon in Oklahoma with a vertically integrated company out there that is just in a fantastic position to really take over that market. So, a lot of exciting things happening. There are a lot of openings and active, companies that are recruiting right now. So, there's a lot to be excited about.
Oh, those are great positions to hear. And, highbluffgroup.com, if I'm not mistaken, is where they can go to see the current listings and the ones you just spoke about, right?
That's right. So, in order to see our current listings, job openings, request a copy of our hiring guide, or to register to receive our newsletter, you can go to highbluffgroup.com.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, again, Valerie, thank you so much for checking in. I know the information shared today was valuable as always, and I, you know, the hiring guide is something that I think people who are prospecting to get into the industry should go right away and take a look at, because it'll give you some great insights as to the current culture and what's going on here within the cannabis industry, and then how to take a maybe gain a different perspective than you might have right now on how to take a look at a career in cannabis.
Exactly. The hiring guide can really give candidates insight on how to prepare for the interview process and what employers are looking for. So I definitely agree with that.
Perfect. Well, thanks again so much for joining us, and you have a great one. Be well, and until next time, yeah, talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jarod. Always good talking to you. You have a
Likewise,
great
Valerie.
one.
Thank you. You can follow our series Careers in Cannabis, as well as more great shows like this one at trichomes.com. If you're a member of the cannabis community and you have a story you want to share with us, reach out. You can reach the show at careersincannabis at trichomes.com. Please take a second to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. It really helps others find the show. For trichomes.com, I'm Jarod Duggins. Be well, and thank you for listening.